So hello everyone, welcome to our webinar of our new release, Lockup 5.1. Today is actually our topic, how advanced center of gravity can help to transform your network planning. Today we will cover actually a case, so we build a new application, the advanced center of gravity application, and this application can plan now based on certain service levels. So before we go into detail, I want to, as always, share a quick agenda. Maybe one comment up front. Again, like always, the webinar will be recorded. And later, at the end of the webinar, we will provide then also this recording to everyone who registered. Yes, today I'm speaking out of our office here from Belgrade, so I'm sitting here with everyone, but no one wants to share with me the camera. So if you hear some background noise, the colleagues can help me answer the questions like always and today in the same room. Yes, so feel always free to directly ask questions. I have many experts sitting today with me who can directly jump in and hopefully answer all your questions. Regarding our agenda, what is our plan today? So main topic is our new application, Advanced Center of Gravity application. Also a big thank you to KNIME, who gave a lot of input to design this application with us. And what I want to show you, the use case today, what is actually now quite easily possible. We will take a look at the maintenance service network. So at the network from service people for construction machineries. So this construction places and the machines are spread over the whole country. So I chose an example data of India. And the idea is to analyze the service network, that the worker who has to fix these appliances or these machines should be pretty close to the construction site. And I will show you then later, for example, which impact does it make when we change it, for example, from a 200-kilometer service level area to 100-kilometer, and how many additional service stations we would need for this. So this topic and multiple other areas can be easily solved with our new application, Advanced Center of Gravity. This will be one part. Then a next topic that is also hopefully quite helpful and also requested by multiple of our customers. We made an enhancement of our existing distance calculation. We return you now also the toll kilometers that are driven in a certain country. So this helps you hopefully to easily calculate the road tolls. As you will see, we will return the different way categories and also the driven way in a certain country. Then we did an additional adjustment also based on customer feedback, how we easier can configure our map. If you have, for example, I will show you the topic that we had the whole time, that we can have additional fields, for example, in the supply chain map location. And now you can easily configure also the pop-up and the description in the pop-up in the supply chain map calculation. Then what we also introduced is actually, as you know, we have an input description on each of our input tables. And now we will have a detailed description on each output table. And we also introduced the concept that the parameters, for example, in network design, are hopefully easily explained, that you know which effect will the change of a certain parameter have for your calculation. And last but not least, we did quite some updates, again, in our API integration. I will show you our newest KNIME node. And we did a big redesign in our Python pip package from Lockup. This I also want to highlight later and show you the link again. Regarding the new APIs that we support now, as we have now the route optimization and the milk run optimization, the regular calculation, we also added them now based on some customer requests. So the whole time before, we only had the milk run optimization plus and the route optimization plus available. Yeah, that's pretty much it, what I wanted to cover. Now I directly want to start and jump into the application itself. Again, if there are any questions, feel free to directly ask them in the Q&A, and then we will directly, hopefully, can address them or take them up later. Okay, then let me just quickly access the presentation mode, and let's go to the add-in itself. So here I have already an Excel prepared from the advanced COG. So when you don't have the new application available, then I just want to show you quickly how to add it again. So if you are here on the home screen, just please click here on this plus button, add module, and here now under strategic network design, you will see that we have here now the advanced center of gravity application. I added it already to my home screen. That's why this yellow star is here active. Just activate here this module 2, and then you will have the application here on your home screen. Yes, let's directly get started, and let's try to explain what is the difference in the advanced center of gravity based to the existing center of gravity application. As I mentioned it already in our introduction, let me quickly just generate the input template, and then we come to our use case that I prepared here. So we combined actually all the features that we had already in existing center of, for example, the fixed center of gravity supported that we can do a brownfield planning. So this is also included here. We have also this possibility, but I think the new topic, what we can do now, and hopefully will save you a lot of time, that you can do a planning based on a service level. This means, how did you solve similar problems like this before? You made multiple calculations with our center of gravity. For example, you made a calculation with 3 centers, then with 4, 5, 6, and then hopefully you used our scenario comparison, where you can compare the different scenarios, and then you check afterwards if, for example, a certain service level is fulfilled. As you can see here in the advanced center of gravity, it's not actually possible anymore to set the number of centers that you want to calculate, because this decision will the optimizer do for you, and we will directly calculate if necessary 100 of calculations in the background to find actually the optimal amount of centers that are actually required to fill this service level. Before I directly jump into the application, like I mentioned, we have 3 tables. The customer table, it's pretty much similar like it was in the center of gravity before too. What is here new, we have 2 additional columns. You have now the possibility to assign a center. So if you have like before the fixed center of gravity calculation, you can, for example, tell the optimizer that a certain customer needs to be served by a fixed center, for example. Then you also have now the possibility assign source. So this is definitely new, because in the old center of gravity or the existing one, there was no source table. So we had this case quite often from many customers. What they most of the time did, they just added the sources, could be, for example, a factory or a supplier, as an additional customer. They did this kind of modeling trick, but this is now not required here anymore, because here in the advanced center of gravity, you also have the possibility to add now sources. And these sources can also have now specific product groups. This means you can actually model multiple products. I will come to this example later, what you can, for example, do with this, especially in combination with the service levels. Then our fixed centers, this table is pretty similar, like it's in our fixed center of gravity. You can define already fixed centers. They should be used or reused. And now we have our the product groups, and in here we can actually define now the service level. So we can define a service level per product group, and we can also actually define a stepwise service level. So here we have at the moment 2 product groups, industrial good and home appliances. Industrial good, the service level should be 70%. in an area around from 200 kilometers. So if it's kilometers or miles, you can, like always, select in the settings, but here it's kilometers. And what does this actually mean? This means from our industrial goods waste here in front, this weight here from the industrial good should be 70% of this weight should be served in a 200-kilometer range by the next center. This is actually how you define the service level. And which effect actually the service level then has. I think it's the easiest way if I explain it to you in one of the most common cases that you can now solve with this new application. And let me quickly explain the data that I pre-modeled for this one. So what is here the business case behind? Like I mentioned it already quickly in our introduction, we want to optimize now a maintenance service network. So this means we have maintenance server. So I choose here some data from India. Actually, it's some sample data. It's just actually the sender coordinates from the areas in India. So it's not any real customers, but the locations are quite helpful and hopefully quite good to explain actually the case behind. So we have, let's assume we have construction sites over whole India. And in these construction sites, there are different truck type used, drilling machines, and all kinds of heavy equipment. And this heavy equipment, this needs to be maintained by service workers. And what we actually want to do, we want to design the locations of these service stations. And then we want to check how many service stations we do need if we change, for example, the service level like described before. And in our example, I have around 2,000 customers, or let me check exactly. I have 2,300 customers here, and I also have them weighted based on the amount of machines they have in use on each of the construction site. Because the weight, like also in the other center of gravity application, will also affect then the position of the selected centers. In addition, I have 3 warehouses where we actually store our spare part equipment. This also should be influencing the servers so the service station in a certain case, or at least we should see the relation between these depots where we save all our spare parts. So for here, I just have actually 3 different warehouses selected in the area of in India. And in addition, I have already an existing service station. And this existing service station, I just want to reuse them. At the moment, I have 14. And then I want to do some calculations how it will affect the different the different kilometer ranges, how it will affect the number of service locations that we actually need to fulfill these goals. So let's start with a service level of 200 kilometers range. So how many service stations will we need in addition to the 14 that we have existingly? And here's one important point. I defined here the service level 95%. This means 95% of our weight needs to be in this range of 200 kilometers. If I have, for example, now one certain outlier that is really far away in a remote area, then it's not required to have them in this 200 kilometers range. So this would fall under this 5%. But we will also see this then in our output. There's one additional thing what I just wanted to do quickly. Let's create a workspace, a fresh one, for all our calculations today. Let's say lockup 5.1. And then let's start the calculation. So I prepared this already for the latitude, longitude. The data is, give me 1 second. Let's just make sure that we have the correct sources connected. Correct fixed senders. And the service level, let's start with a service level of 200 kilometers. So 95%, 200 kilometers. I will give here now the optimizer. We can specify a minimum and a maximum number of centers. So I just give him the maximum sort of freedom to decide between 1 and 600 centers. So we will not need 600, and I will directly want to save the scenario. And let's say this calculation is 200 kilometer service level. Let's start the calculation. While it's running, there is one additional factor that I actually didn't use or didn't explain yet. And this is the outbound-inbound factor. So normally, the weight of the outbound, what are our customers, and the inbound of our sources, most of the time, the outbound weight in optimization is more relevant than the inbound weight. And here, this is actually a factor. This means the outbound weight is 8 times more important than the inbound factor. And this is actually what you can adjust here. You can also set it to 1, that the sources have the same importance than the outbound customers. But for this use case, I just leave it for now at 8%. So now we have done actually the first calculation. Let's take a look before we take a look at our result and quickly open the map. And just that we get an overview how many customers we have, where is the location, and yeah, how is the current weight actually distributed. Okay, so now we have here the customers. Let me quickly adjust some of the settings. Maybe let's make them a little bit smaller. Bring the centers here up and the sources also. So let's quickly explain the different topic. I maybe change here this color to a red. It's easier to understand. Customers are still too big. So I think now like this, it's quite understandable. So the calculation that we did now, let me check 1 second. Here also in the result, it showed that we need 33 centers to fulfill the service level. So we need 33 service locations to fulfill this service of 95% in a radius of 200 kilometers. As you can see, the centers that we planned are here the yellow ones. The blue dots are the customers. And the red, the directions I think are clear, right? And here the green one, these are actually these hubs where we store at the moment our spare parts. Before we go now here into detail, I want to directly calculate the next calculation. Let's adjust it to a service level of 100. So 100 kilometers. So my assumption, and hopefully it is like this, it should be, we need many more locations to be able to fulfill this, because the service workers need to be much closer at the construction site. Let's start this calculation. Then we can also take a look at the output. And then I want to also explain you the result in detail, where we can see actually the different service levels. So while this is actually then calculating, give me 1 second. There in the meantime, one of the features what I also wanted to show you, maybe you saw them already, are here these info icons. So these icons, these are actually the topic that I want to show you then later. Here you can directly see with an overlay, whenever you hover about it, this is the explanation. What does this different setting, for example, do? So this is also one of the new topics. So now this is the calculation done. Let's also open this one to a map. So here we have then the 200 kilometers example and the 100 kilometers example. So let me check back again. I didn't read it. So now to fulfill, so before we needed 33 centers to fulfill the service level. Now we need 109 centers. This means, so the optimizer is deciding for you how many centers do you need actually. So you don't have to calculate multiple scenarios through until you fit the correct service level here. So here we have 109, and now we have here this the location. What I already prepared is actually to have the scenario comparison, that I don't have to create this again. I just want to show you and save some time. So here in the lockup 5.1 demo, what I did the same calculation, 100 and 200 kilometer service level, and then I just created again, like I did in a couple of sessions before, create scenario comparison. And here is then the scenario comparison with the overview. And there we can also directly compare side by side the map. 200 and the 100. Let's quickly adjust the settings. Here, let's also go down. Now I think I destroyed this topic here. Give me 1 second. Let's go back to the split view. This was the dashboard. Here, I think in the split view we have a problem. So for this one, we need to take a look at this. There is something with the configuration not working. So, but what I wanted to show you, I can also just show it to you here. So this was the 200 kilometers example. Here we have now with 100 kilometers. Let's reduce this here. And let's just make also the outbound here in red color. Then we have the same view. So as you can see, so we need here many more service locations to fulfill this. So as you can see, an increase, so from 200 kilometers to increase it to actually 100, much better service level, but you also need much more service station in this one. Now, let me quickly explain you something in the output of this result. When I export it all to new sheet, so like always, you can export it quickly back to Excel. What I wanted to highlight here is the following. So here we have, again, the assigned centers. So this is the example with the 100 kilometer radius. So we have 109 centers here. And then we have, first of all, the assignment from the inbound to the centers. This is quite easy. And here, the outbound to the centers. But what is here actually interesting is now the distance, because this is actually the KPI that we try to optimize, right? And we defined, okay, 95% of all this customer weight should be in an area of 100 kilometers. So if you take here a look at these distances, it is still possible that we have some distances that are bigger than 100 kilometers. This is because I gave them the service level a 95% freedom. So this means 5% of the weight can still be further away. If you want, you can also set it to 100, but if you increase the service level to 100, we will need even more service level. So this is then really depends on your scenario, but normally you use service level between 95 and 99%. So a service level of 100 is normally not really often used, but obviously if you want to do it like this, you can, but just be aware that here it's still possible that there are distances that are actually bigger than 100 because of the 95% in this area. Okay, So yeah, this is actually the topics what I wanted to highlight for now in our new application, Advanced Center of Gravity. There is one more topic I just want to mention, but I will not go there in detail in this example, also based on the time, because I still want to cover the other points. When we take a look here now at our input data, you saw that we have the possibility to model actually multiple product groups. This means you can model multiple products. If you do this here, you also then need to define a service level for these products. And what we could do, for example, in our case, if we want to offer two products, a regular maintenance service and a premium maintenance service, then you could model here, for example, a second product that the premium maintenance service should be available in 100-kilometer range and a regular maintenance service in a radius, for example, of 150 or 200. So this kind of topics you can also actually model with these product groups here. And there is then one more topic also relevant to mention. Therefore, I just generate the sample data template again. When you model here the service level with this product groups table, you have the possibility to model also different stages. So here, this is one product group, home appliances, and it means that 80% should be in a range of 300 kilometers and 50% should be in a range of 200 kilometers. So also this is possible to model here in the service level. So I hope I didn't forget any of the main topics what I wanted to mention, but maybe I quickly take a look to my colleagues. Are there any questions at the moment? So doesn't look like, so there are no questions that we should cover. Then we can actually go back to the regular agenda. Okay, so the next topic what I wanted to share is actually the toll calculation, or it's actually not, will not calculate you the toll costs in total, but we will help you to calculate the distances in a way that it's really easy for you to do the toll calculation. Therefore, we enhanced our distance calculation engine. Let's directly go to our regular distance calculation, so no new app. As you see, when you enter now the app, what is new? We have the standard feature. So this is our regular distance calculation. Nothing changed here. Like it always was, same features. If you want to have now these additional features, this country toll distances, you can just select this topic here, generate a template. The template will be nearly the same, but as you can see it, we have a totally different output data structure. We will not only have one output table, we need actually multiple output tables to define the different distances. To do this calculation, I also prepared already some distances, and I just used this distances here. So I want to calculate, let's select it. I want to calculate distances from Austria, from Vienna to Belgrade, where I'm currently with the team. Let's calculate this road distance, and then also let's calculate an additional distance from Vienna to Salzburg. This means we stay in one country. In one of the relations, we will cross multiple country borders, and in the other one, we don't cross any country borders. So let's take a look what the result will look like. So here, calculation parameters, there nothing changed. You can still select kilometers, minutes, the vehicle type, car, route preferences, and so on, recommended or shortest, fastest. And what is actually new, when you take a look at our output, we have now two output tables. Let's directly take a look. What will be our result? This is pretty much the same output table that we had before. The old one, here we display the distance. This is the street distance, so the road distance. Then we have the beeline distance, the regular duration than before. And now we also had to assign a route ID because this is one leg. And when we want to display actually the tollways in the different countries, because, for example, Austria has a different toll rate than Hungary or Serbia, that's why we need to list it in different country steps. That's why here the route ID consists actually of these three legs. So one leg in Austria, one in Hungary, and one in Serbia. And you see here the regular distance, and then you see also now the split in the different categories. So you have the highway category, the tollway, and no category. So in total, the sum of these two, no category and highway should be the same number than the country distance. And most of the time, not always, some parts of the highway is also a tollway. So this is actually listed here, but as you can see, not all highways in Serbia are actually tollway road, and not all areas on the highway in Austria are tollway road. So here you have then this split in here too. And with this information, when you now know which kind of truck you are driving and in which country how high the truck cost per kilometer per toll is, then you can actually calculate your toll information, hopefully quite easily. Just as a background information, let's take a look on the map quickly itself. So how we did this implementation, if you have a question why is something marked as a tollway, as you know, our distance calculation is based on OpenStreetMaps data. And whenever OpenStreetMap is referencing a certain road as a tollway, then we calculate it like this. So this can be, for example, in different countries, it doesn't only have to be a highway, it can be also a different road that is a tollway. So this is actually where the data is based then from. Okay, this is actually it, what I wanted to share regarding this enhancement feature in the distance calculation. Are there any questions in the chat regarding this one? Oh, okay, nothing open. Okay, nothing open, everything answered. Then let's directly continue to our map configuration. What did we change here? To show you this example, I actually want to use the supply chain map. And let's assume we want to render some information about our customers. So I use the latitude longitude version with locations. And I also prepared already some input data set for this one. And there's actually one feature, we have this already for a really long time. In the supply chain map, I'm not sure if everyone was aware about it. You can have the standard columns that you see when you click on Generate Template, but you can also add many additional custom columns here. And these custom columns, I just added here pallets and weight in kilogram. These custom columns, we actually also visualize them on the map in the pop-up dialog. We implemented this change now based on the feedback from some customers to make this configuration a bit easier. Let me quickly just link this. And let's directly save this map with our save scenario feature in our new workspace. And let's say customers. I'm sorry, this was not the workspace. This is the 5.0 one. I wanted to save it in 5.1. Customers lockup. Let's just say customers. Let's do the calculation. So let's generate this map. Let's open the map. So now I assume that when I click on a pop-up, that I have now this feature that I can see the pallets and the weight. So this is no adjustment yet. This was always like this. What we can change now is actually we can configure now how this pop-up will look like. So now here we can see actually our customers. They are spread over the US. And if I activate this in the interactive mode and I click on this customer, I can see these two additional attributes, pallets, weight in kilogram. So this feature was there already the whole time. The only thing what was not so nice, Sometimes it is not really relevant to show here also our standard columns, layer, latitude, longitude, quantity, name description, and so on, because it's really not relevant for this use case. And this actually, you could configure this in the saved map already the whole time. But now we introduced here on top this button, this gear button, that you can directly jump to the map configuration that is based on a data set here. And here, this screen we had already before, but it was only reachable from the platform itself. And now we just made it hopefully easier to actually adjust the settings. And what was actually one of the requests from our customers, that they don't want to always see latitude, longitude, for example. And now you have here this feature, hide in pop-up. You can just disable this. Let's also disable quantity, this name description. And let's just say I only want to see the name, pellets, and weight in kilogram. Then you just do an update. Now what it does, it updates now the saved map. So like every map that is saved and based on a data set, you can also filter and use this feature. And if I activate it again, here now you can see that I actually only have this name, pellets, weight in kilograms left. And all this kind of settings that you were able to do like this before is now available under this additional button here on top of the map. So this is just this small but hopefully useful quick adjustment that you can actually reach the settings topic easier than before. Okay, that was already it regarding this point. I don't see, are there any questions? Most likely not. Then I want to show you now this output table description and the parameter description. So I partially showed this, and it's also visible in all of the application. But I think a good application where we can see this as a hopefully helpful feature is, for example, when we take a look at complex applications like Network Design Plus that has many input tables. Let's just take a look here. Network Design Plus. Let's generate it again. So here we have many input tables. I just run it through. So one of the first changes that you see here on each of the parameters, we have now a description. So one topic that was mentioned happened quite often in the support, that it was not clear to our customers when you don't activate this feature, for example, here street level, the optimization is actually based on beeline. If you activate it, the optimization is based on street level, what can make a certain difference, especially in areas like Switzerland or in the UK. So, and this kind of description you have now on each parameter here. Just hover over it with the mouse and you directly have an explanation how this parameter will affect actually the calculation. So this is actually one change that we did. And then here, in addition, we have now on each of the output table this additional info icon. So most likely you are used already for this info icon in the input table. Now we have the same topic on the output table. You can click here, and the same in the input, you see a general table description, and then you see actually per column an additional description on each input table. So this is actually supported for all the applications. So it was just an additional enhancement of our documentation, but hopefully it makes your life easier to understand also the output and the settings that you can actually do here with these different parameters. Then last but not least, I want to show you then additional KNIME nodes, or in general, it's not a KNIME node that we enhanced, it's actually an additional API that we enabled. And whenever we implement an API, we also update our pip package and our KNIME nodes. I just want to quickly show you how you can go to our integration page when you are on the platform. And you have the regular sidebar open, and you go here to manage account. And here under our integration page, like I showed before, you can generate here your API key, and then you can use the API key. So here you see our API documentation, and there you can also test the APIs, where you just actually add the API key itself. So what is actually here new? There are multiple new APIs. So like always in our release notes, there are also all the details, what was actually adjusted, what was changed. What I only wanted to highlight is here in the transport optimization that we have now here the milk run optimization and the reverse milk run optimization and transport optimization and reverse transport optimization. The whole time before we only had the milk run optimization plus, and these topics were actually requested by multiple customers to also enable these applications via an API. And then here, the same for all the new APIs, like always, we have this here in our KNIME notes available. But what I really wanted to highlight is actually the update in our pip package. So we fully reworked actually our pip package here, and we enhanced our documentation and also enabled all the features that are now supported in the APIs here with our pip package. So here, if you want to do an integration with Python, just feel free to come to our repository, and here are some detailed description. If you still need any additional help, feel always free to contact us on support, and we can help you with this one. Okay, this is actually what I wanted to cover today. Let's quickly check on the Q&A question mark. Are there any open questions that we should address today? Okay, perfect. Then I think hopefully I didn't forget anything, and then we are through 20 minutes earlier today, like planned. Then thank you very much for your time and have a great day. Bye.